In a significant shift in U.S. domestic and foreign policy, the Trump administration has announced sweeping changes affecting federal diversity initiatives as President Donald Trump embarks on his second term. The directive, which mandates the immediate placement of all federal employees involved in diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs on paid leave, has sparked widespread reactions and signals a contentious approach to governance for the upcoming term. According to a memo from the Office of Personnel Management, federal agencies must submit plans to terminate DEI programs by the end of January, alongside the closure of associated websites and social media accounts. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt hailed the move as a fulfillment of Trump's campaign promise to eliminate DEI initiatives, framing it as a step toward restoring a merit-based society. "This is another win for Americans of all races, religions, and creeds," she stated, emphasizing the administration's stance against what it perceives as a detrimental focus on diversity initiatives within government operations. While this dramatic shift in policy is unfolding within the United States, international relations, particularly with China, remain fraught with tension. As Trump prepares to engage with Chinese President Xi Jinping, who he has previously expressed admiration for, observers in Beijing are adopting a cautious outlook. Many residents anticipate that Trump's hardline stance on trade and his America First rhetoric will prevail, leading to continued economic and political friction between the two nations. Zhang Yu, a 44-year-old IT worker in Beijing, noted, "He's been fighting trade wars for years, but it's never brought any benefit to either country or to the world." This sentiment reflects a broader wariness among the Chinese populace, who are bracing for the possibility of escalating tariffs and economic repercussions as Trump reiterates his commitment to a tough approach toward China. On the academic front, discussions surrounding U.S. China relations are evolving. Xinru Ma, a research scholar at Stanford's Freeman Spalley Institute, has articulated that the U.S. needs to reevaluate its perception of China's geopolitical rise. Ma argues that internal issues rather than external aggressions are the primary focus of China's leadership. This perspective suggests that the U.S. should not view China's ascent as inherently oppositional to its interests, but rather as a complex interplay of historical and contemporary factors that require a nuanced understanding. Ma's insights into the nature of internal stability within Chinese governance echo historical patterns observed during various dynasties, emphasizing that China's future actions may be driven more by domestic considerations than by a desire to confront the U.S. directly. This perspective challenges the prevailing view of an inevitable conflict as articulated in the Thucydides trap, which posits that rising powers often clash with established ones. As Trump's administration sets its sights on implementing these policies, both domestic and international observers are keenly aware of the potential ramifications. The interplay of aggressive domestic policies such as the dismantling of DEI programs combined with a volatile approach to foreign relations, particularly with China, could herald a new era of uncertainty. Looking ahead, the implications of Trump's second term will likely extend beyond the immediate political landscape. The administration's focus on internal restructuring alongside a confrontational foreign policy could reshape the U.S.'s global standing and its relationships with other nations. As the world watches this unfolding narrative, the question remains, will the U.S. find a path toward constructive engagement, or will it descend further into a cycle of conflict and competition? Future developments in both domestic policy and international relations will be critical in determining the trajectory of U.S. influence on the global stage. In the ongoing narrative of global economic dynamics, the assertion that China's economy could soon surpass that of the United States has been met with skepticism by many economists. Recent analyses indicate that this anticipated transition may not materialize in the near future, primarily due to significant demographic challenges and economic headwinds faced by China. The juxtaposition of these two world powers reflects broader implications for global trade, investment, and geopolitical stability. China's population, 4 times greater than that of the U.S., is projected to experience a dramatic decline. According to United Nations forecasts, China's population could decrease by approximately 55% by the turn of the next century. In stark contrast, the U.S. is expected to see an 18% increase in population over the same period. This unprecedented demographic shift has prompted Chinese policymakers to implement a range of pro-natal policies aimed at reversing the declining birth rate, which has become a pressing concern for the central government. Local authorities are reportedly making calls to single and married women, encouraging them to have more children. Reflecting the urgency of the situation as leaders grapple with the implications of a shrinking workforce. George Magnus, an associate at the University of Oxford's China Center, highlights that while China will continue to exert significant influence in global manufacturing and trade, its economic prowess appears to have peaked. He notes the window in which there were credible chances that China's GDP might surpass the United States has pretty much closed. The economic landscape in China has been further complicated by the repercussions of its past policies, particularly the one-child policy that was enforced from 1980 to 2015. As a result, the fertility rate has plummeted. In 2024, it is estimated that the average Chinese woman will bear only one child, with urban centers like Shanghai experiencing even lower rates. This demographic trend poses a serious threat to long-term economic growth, particularly as the workforce ages. By 2040, it is anticipated that 27% of the Chinese population will be over 65. Meanwhile, the U.S. is projected to maintain a relatively stable demographic profile, with a working-age population projected to remain around 62% despite a slight decline. The U.S. also continues to benefit from a robust immigration policy, with nearly 15% of its population being foreign-born, a stark contrast to China's mere 0.1%. This influx of immigrants not only bolsters the labor market but also enhances economic dynamism. China's economic growth, once characterized by double-digit increases, has slowed significantly in recent years, revealing vulnerabilities that stem from over-reliance on exports and a struggling real estate sector. The abrupt shift from its stringent zero-COVID policy has not led to the anticipated economic rebound, as consumer confidence remains low and local government debt levels are high. Although the Chinese economy met its growth target of 5% in 2024, this is indicative of a broader trend of stagnation, as highlighted by Magnus, who stated relative to both global and U.S. GDP, China has regressed for the first time since the rise of China began. The implications of these economic challenges are further compounded by the geopolitical climate. As the U.S. imposes tariffs and restrictions on Chinese goods, particularly in high-tech sectors such as semiconductors, China faces a dual challenge of maintaining economic growth while navigating a complex international trade environment. The Biden administration's efforts to curb China's technological advancements through measures like the CHIPS and Science Act highlight the increasingly competitive nature of U.S.-China relations. In this context, China is also facing competition from emerging economies, particularly India, which has overtaken China as the world's most populous nation. With a young and growing workforce, India is poised to challenge China's dominance in various sectors, particularly manufacturing and technology. Economists predict that by the mid-2030s, India could outpace China in economic growth, further complicating Beijing's aspirations to secure a dominant global position. As the landscape continues to evolve, the long-term trajectory of China's economic ambitions remains uncertain. While the nation possesses significant industrial capabilities and has made strides in emerging technologies, its demographic crisis and economic challenges could hinder its quest to overtake the U.S. in economic strength. The intricate interplay of these factors will undoubtedly shape the future of global economic relations, with both nations navigating a path fraught with opportunities and obstacles. As developments unfold, the world watches closely to see how these two giants will adapt to an increasingly complex economic landscape. In a significant move amid escalating geopolitical tensions, China's Navy has officially commissioned its first Type 054B frigate, named Luoha, at a military port in Qingdao. This new generation warship is a testament to China's ongoing military modernization efforts, particularly as competition with the U.S. and other regional powers intensifies. The commissioning of the Luoha aims to enhance the overall combat effectiveness of the People's Liberation Army Navy plan, which already boasts the largest fleet in the world by hull count. The Luoha, with a displacement of approximately 5,000 tons, is equipped with advanced stealth technology, sophisticated combat command systems, and an integrated firepower suite. These features, according to the Navy, significantly bolster the ship's operational capabilities, enabling it to undertake a variety of military missions. The plan emphasized that the frigate would play a vital role in enhancing the effectiveness of naval task forces, particularly in the strategically important waters of the South China Sea and in support of potential military actions related to Taiwan. China's maritime ambitions are underscored by its assertion of territorial claims over nearly the entire South China Sea, a region vital to global shipping routes. The plan's operations primarily focus on these waters as well as the East China Sea, where tensions with Japan persist over disputed islands. Recent military exercises have illustrated a complex reality, while simulations indicate China might suffer heavy losses in a confrontation with the U.S. Navy. Its strategy is predicated on the ability to absorb such losses and maintain operational momentum. The commissioning of the Luoha comes at a time when the U.S. Navy is grappling with concerns about being outnumbered in key regions. In response, U.S. officials have called for an expansion of the fleet and reforms to expedite the reactivation of damaged vessels. The plan currently operates around 234 warships compared to the U.S. Navy's 219, including a similar number of frigates and destroyers. Additionally, China has been advancing its aircraft carrier capabilities, with 2 carriers currently operational and a third undergoing sea trials. Moreover, the broader implications of China's naval expansion extend beyond military capabilities. The plan has been increasingly projecting power beyond its traditional operating areas, with deployments reported in the Mediterranean Sea and the Caribbean. This shift signals an intention to leverage naval strength as a component of China's growing economic and diplomatic influence globally. In the context of Taiwan, the newly commissioned frigate underscores the plan's commitment to supporting military operations aimed at asserting control over the self-governing island. President Xi Jinping has made clear his intentions regarding Taiwan, viewing its reunification as a key objective of his leadership. While the U.S. military assesses that Taiwan remains a challenging target for a Chinese invasion, the potential for conflict persists, raising concerns across the region about the implications of a miscalculation. As the geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, the commissioning of the Type 054B frigate highlights China's resolve to enhance its naval capabilities in the face of increasing competition. The ongoing developments in naval power reflect not just military ambitions, but also a broader strategic vision that could redefine regional dynamics in the coming years. As international observers closely monitor these developments, the question remains: how will the U.S. and its allies respond to China's expanding maritime assertiveness and the implications for global security?